The Royal Canadian Infantry Corps is the infantry corps of the Canadian Army and includes regular and reserve force regiments. Originally formed as the Canadian Infantry Corps on 2 September 1942 to encompass all existing infantry regiments, including regiments of foot guards, in the Canadian Army. The Corps was granted its royal designation in 1947 and was designated Royal Canadian Infantry Corps 30 April 1947, to be redesignated the Royal Canadian Infantry Corps 22 March 1948, and revert to Royal Canadian Infantry Corps 17 February 1964. The badge of the Royal Canadian Infantry Corps consists of Argent 3 maple leaves conjoined on one stem within an annulus, Gules fimbriated and inscribed infantry INFANTERIE in letters or, the whole ensigned by the Royal Crown proper set above a scroll or inscribed with the motto in letters Sable and surmounted by 2 rifles in saltire or, the 3 maple leaves conjoined on one stem, taken from the Royal Arms of Canada, represents service to Canada, and the Crown, service to the Sovereign. The crossed rifles denote infantry and have been used in badges of infantry units as well as of the officer cadet program. Red and white are the national colors of Canada. Infantry and INFANTERIE are a form of the bilingual branch title, and DUCIMUS is the motto of the Corps. In 1968, with the unification of the Canadian Army and the Canadian Armed Forces, the name of the Royal Canadian Infantry Corps was changed to simply the Infantry Branch. As of April 2013, the traditional designation Royal Canadian Infantry Corps has been officially restored. Today, the administration and training of both the regular and reserve infantry that form part of the Canadian Army is the responsibility of the Infantry School, which runs officer classification courses as well as NCO and warrant officer trades training at CFB Gagetown. Role of the infantry: to close with and destroy the enemy. Well-armed individuals with fighting spirit and dogged determination constitute the backbone of the infantry battalion. All the rest, vehicles, stores and equipment, merely exist to assist the infantry soldier to carry out the mission. It is by determination and the skillful use of weapons and ground that the battalion succeeds in battle. Tasks of the infantry: to destroy the enemy in close combat, to defend a position by the holding of ground, to fight as covering force troops, to act as all or part of a reserve, to counter-attack a block, to participate in airmobile, airborne and amphibious operations, to establish surveillance and conduct patrols, to conduct security tasks, including rear area security, and to exploit the effects of NBC weapons. Regular force. Note: each regular force regiment retains a parachute company in its respective 3rd Battalion. The Royal Canadian Regiment 1st Battalion, Mechanized Infantry 2nd Battalion, Mechanized Infantry 3rd Battalion, Light Infantry, Princess Patricia's Canadian Light Infantry 1st Battalion, Mechanized Infantry 2nd Battalion, Mechanized Infantry 3rd Battalion, Light Infantry. Royal 22E Regiment 1 Battalion, Mechanized Infantry 2E Battalion, Mechanized Infantry 3E Battalion, Light Infantry. After the Second World War, the infantry was expanded to meet Canada's global responsibilities as part of NATO. Initially, the militia regiments provided men to a number of composite battalions, 1st and 2nd Canadian Infantry Battalions, 1st and 2nd Canadian Rifle Battalions, 1st and 2nd Canadian Highland Battalions. In 1953 it was decided that the composite battalions would be regimented. The 2 Canadian infantry battalions were amalgamated with the 3rd Battalions of both the Royal Canadian Regiment and Princess Patricia's Canadian Light Infantry to form a new 4-Battalion Regiment of Foot Guards, the Canadian Guards. The Rifle and Highland Battalions were regimented by forming regular force units of the Senior Rifle and Highland Regiments of the Militia, the Queen's Own Rifles of Canada and the Black Watch of Canada. The Canadian Guards 1st Battalion 1953–1968, 2nd Battalion 1953–1970, 3rd Battalion 1953–1957, 4th Battalion 1953–1957. The Queen's Own Rifles of Canada 1st Battalion 1953–1970, 2nd Battalion 1953–1968. The Black Watch of Canada 1st Battalion 1953–1970, 2nd Battalion 1953–1970. The Canadian Airborne Regiment 1968–1995. Primary Reserve, the Governor-General's Foot Guards, the Canadian Grenadier Guards, the Queen's Own Rifles of Canada, the Black Watch of Canada, Les Voltiges de Quebec, the Royal Regiment of Canada, the Royal Hamilton Light Infantry, the Princess of Wales's Own Regiment, the Hastings and Prince Edward Regiment, the Lincoln and Welland Regiment, the Royal Canadian Regiment 4th Battalion, the Royal Highland Fusiliers of Canada, the Grey and Simcoe Foresters, the Lorne Scots, the Brockville Rifles, the Stormont, Dundas and Glengarry Highlanders, Les Fusiliers du Saint-Laurent, le Regiment de la Chaudière, Royal 22e Regiment 4th Battalion, 6th Battalion, Les Fusiliers Mont-Royal, the Princess Louise Fusiliers, the Royal New Brunswick Regiment 1st Battalion, the West Nova Scotia Regiment, the North Shore Regiment, the Nova Scotia Highlanders, le Regiment de Maisonneuve, the Cameron Highlanders of Ottawa, the Royal Winnipeg Rifles, the Essex and Kent Scottish 48th Highlanders of Canada, le Regiment du Saguenay, the Cape Breton Highlanders, the Algonquin Regiment, the Argyll and Sutherland Highlanders of Canada, the Lake Superior Scottish Regiment, the North Saskatchewan Regiment, the Royal Regina Rifles, the Rocky Mountain Rangers, the Loyal Edmonton Regiment, the Queen's Own Cameron Highlanders of Canada, the Royal Westminster Regiment, the Calgary Highlanders, Les Fusiliers de Sherbrooke, the Seaforth Highlanders of Canada, the Canadian Scottish Regiment, the Royal Montreal Regiment, the Irish Regiment of Canada's 2nd Battalion, the Toronto Scottish Regiment, the Royal Newfoundland Regiment 1st Battalion 2nd Battalion. Supplementary Order of Battle. Regiments on the Supplementary Order of Battle legally exist but have no personnel or materiel. The Canadian Guards, Victoria Rifles of Canada, the Royal Rifles of Canada, le Regiment de Joliet, the Perth Regiment, the South Saskatchewan Regiment, the Winnipeg Grenadiers, the Yukon Regiment, Order of Precedence,